Hello, I am Lady Orkyra, Duchess of Silver Dragons and your local villainess, and today I'm going to be showing you how I beat the original Otome game and made it to the end. A lot of players seem to start struggling around lesson 60 in the OG Otome, but some even earlier than that, and they can't seem to progress through the game. It's something I noticed a few years ago now, and I can see that it's frustrating to a lot of players. But fear not, darling little MCs at home. I am your benevolent Duchess. I will teach you my very own tips and tricks on how to pass those pesky levels and romance the demon of your dreams in this very handy battle guide. You're very welcome. First, let's get into the basics of battle stages in Otome. In battles, you pick the strongest and most appropriate cards for your team and make them face off in a dance battle against the enemy. The majority of this is automatic, but throughout the battle you can activate skills and collect extra points. Your goal is to get your gauge past this line here when the timer runs out. The game will automatically choose the best cards for you, but you can swap them out with whatever cards you like, if you think they would be a better fit. You use 6 cards in total. 3 demon cards and 3 memory cards. Both have unique skill sets that activate during battles. Special skills are used by the demon cards and are activated manually during the battle once the gauge has been filled. Memory cards, however, trigger automatic skills by chance. I'm going to be completely honest here. I never once looked at the skills of my cards. I never even considered them. Does that mean you shouldn't? No, you should probably at least check to see what they do, as some card skills are more valuable than others. I'm just saying that I never did that. Aside from skills, each card has an attribute of a deadly sin attached to it, and each stage will require 2 different attributes. It's best to try to collect and level up at least 2 of each attribute for both demon cards and memory cards, so that you always have your bases covered and you can have the best possible outcome. Now, you don't have to have 2 of each. You can use a card with an attribute the battle doesn't require, but it won't be nearly as effective. It really isn't something you need to worry about early on in the game, but definitely it's worth collecting and upgrading at least 2 or 3 of each attribute later on. I'll get into stage and card attributes a little more later, as it is quite complex, but for now let's move on to pulling, choosing and strengthening your cards. You can increase the level of your cards simply by doing battles over and over again with them, but that can take quite a lot of time. I personally like to collect Grim and just level them up, spending it that way. I'll teach you more about resource collecting later, so you don't need to worry about that for now. Once you've reached the maximum level a card can reach, you can increase the maximum by spending a certain amount of Grim and resources, and this increases the level cap by 10. Now, listen to me when I tell you this. Do not ever level up low tier cards unless you're right at the start of the game and they are all you have. N, R and SR rank cards, useless. Don't bother with them. Maybe SR at a push if you're desperate, but definitely not the other 2. Disregard them at once, they are a waste of resources. Your saviors during the battle challenges will be the rare cards, and the rarer the better. You can get cards in Nightmare, and this will either require devil points or demon vouchers. My advice is to save up your vouchers and points to always pull 10 cards at a time rather than individuals, because you will always be guaranteed a card that is SSR or higher. Make sure that you pull from Chapter A, Chapter M or any re-releases rather than Chapter G to avoid wasting Grim on low tier cards. Rare cards have a way higher level maximum, which means they can get far stronger than the low tier cards. An N rank card caps out at level 20, whereas a UR+, which is the highest ranked card, caps at level 100. UR caps at 100 as well, and SSR caps at 80. Why is this important to know? Well, if you want to increase your cards higher than their cap, you can, but it requires Grim and other valuable resources. Instead of using those resources to get your measly N card to level 30, you could be saving them for improving the skill level of your high ranking cards instead, making them even more powerful. why would I use 100 greed gems, 100 gluttony gems, and 2 greed daggers to get my end card to a new maximum of 30, when I could be using the resources to get my UR plus card to a new maximum of 110? You're going to get nowhere wasting resources on the weak. Oh, and I should also mention that you can't use 2 cards of the same character while in battle. For example, I can't use 2 Lucifer cards at the same time, even though they have different attributes that would be useful for the stage. As I said, the strongest cards are automatically assigned, but if you're messing around with teams, keep this in mind and pick whichever card will be more useful to you. If you have more than one of the same character, that will work. Now, let's talk about devil trees. These are the skill trees for your cards. Here you can increase how effective your card is, as well as get all kinds of rewards like new text conversations, voice lines, and even outfits. Now, I know this is all very tempting, but absolutely do not waste what little resources you have on those kinds of rewards. You want to focus solely on increasing the attributes of your cards in battle. Sometimes the present nodes can come in useful, however. They give out things like AP, Devil Points, Grim, Raven, Demon Vouchers, and Glow Sticks, all of which are very useful when it comes to beating the battle stages. But they can also give out less valuable items like Lonely Devil Tickets, Story Keys, and Surprise Guest Gifts. You're going to want the useful stuff, aren't you? All of those things can help you in your quest to beating the game. So, how can you be sure that you're going to get a useful item? Well, actually, it's all on the Otome wiki. Find the card that you have on the site and simply scroll down a little. It will tell you exactly what you will get and what you need to unlock it. I don't think they have every single card in the game on there, but there's a good majority of them. And this is the only time I will recommend that you look at your weaker cards and going through the Devil's Tree to obtain the higher value items from them, if they have any. If you find that they have something of value and you have the expendable resources to get them, then it might be worth doing, but make sure that you pick the direct path there rather than unlocking every skill on the way. Oh, and one other tip when it comes to leveling up cards, don't level up this one in particular. I know, it's a UR plus card, but for some reason, the gauge on this card fills up much slower than every other card, and this prevents you from being able to activate its skill at the same time as the others and get combos later in battle, which I will explain later. Just trust me on this, okay? Leave this card alone. It's the only cards I personally have that is slower than the rest, so I don't know if there are other cards like this. All I can tell you is to avoid this one specifically. Okay, we have our cards, we've leveled them up, increased the effectiveness of their attribute, and even unlocked the max level cap. Now it's time to prepare for battle. The game automatically chooses the most effective cards for you, so you don't actually need to change them around. I don't think I ever really picked my own teams and just let the game pick for me. I'm pretty lazy. I'm unsure if the choosing of the cards also takes skills into account though. If you see that the enemy has a skill to paralyze you, which can severely affect whether or not you win the battle, then maybe look for an appropriate card with a skill that reflects or resists paralysis and equip this instead, if it's strong and matches one of the 2 attributes for the level. Again, I never actually did this myself, but if you think it will help you, then give it a try and see if your odds are better. I always struggled with levels where the opponents could inflict paralysis, and I kind of wish that I knew about this sooner. This right here is our current card strength. On the opposite side, we have the opponent's card strength, and this smiley face right here is called Mr. Smiles. Mr. Smiles is a general indicator of how the battle will go. If he's rainbow like this, you win with flying colours. You can even skip the battle altogether if you want. If he's red and bouncing, you're still practically guaranteed to win. No point in changing out your cards or adding glow sticks for help. If he's orange like this, you have a decent chance of winning, but there's also the chance the opponent will win if they activate skills that debuff you. Proceed with caution. And if Mr. Smiles looks distressed, there's a slim chance you'll win. You'll probably need to upgrade your cards or add glow sticks before starting. However, I have actually won a few battles where Mr. Smiles here is distressed, A surprising amount, actually. I find that sometimes just testing the level without any extra leveling up or items can get you through it. By the skin of your teeth, mind you, but through nonetheless. It's best to check the difference between your total strength and the opponent's first, though. If there's not too much of a difference, add a glow stick. If the glow stick calms Mr. Smiles down and he turns orange, take it back off again and try without it a few times. You might be surprised. If you need 2 glow sticks or a rainbow stick to make him happy, it's probably worth using one. And if you give all 3 cards a glow stick or rainbow stick and he's still upset, you need stronger or more appropriate cards. Now, this is where stage attributes come back into play. Remember how I said that each stage has 2 attributes assigned to it and certain cards match those attributes? The more your cards match the stage, the better. The primary attribute is first. For this stage, it's Lust. If you have a card that is also a Lust attribute, you will get a times 2.6 point bonus when you activate that card's skill during a battle, and this applies to each matching card. The secondary attribute for this stage is Pride, and for every card that matches the secondary attribute, you will get a times 1.9 bonus when activating the skill. But what do you do if you don't have 3 of the same or 2 of one and 1 of the other? Well, cards actually have a secondary attribute, and this will also grant a small bonus when skills are activated. Since the primary attribute is Lust, let's look for a card that has it as its second attribute. You can check this by looking at your cards in more detail. This is their scores for their attributes. Whichever is the second highest score is their secondary attribute. I've never said attribute so many times in my life. If we find a card with Lust as its secondary attribute, we will get a times 1.3 bonus when skills are activated. And if we find a card that has Pride as its secondary attribute, it will grant a times 1.1 bonus. So, if you don't have enough cards to cover your bases, try finding cards with the correct attributes as their second highest to still earn a point bonus each time their skills are activated. Don't forget to progress in the devil trees to increase the card's other attributes as well. Alright, now it's time for the actual battle here. Do I have any genuine tips for this? Not really. It was mostly trial and error for me. What I can tell you though is that I usually like to activate all 3 of my card skills at the same time to trigger a combo. A combo increases the effects of your card skills, and the bigger the combo, the better. Sometimes I would wait for the other team to attack first so that I could counter and get a longer combo. I've never said combo so many times in my life. Generally though, it doesn't matter who attacks first as long as you come out on top. But if they activate all 3 of their skills first, you can trigger all 3 of your skills and get a times 6 combo, which will make your skills the most effective they can be. I typically would counter rather than attack first. I also like to trigger a combo at the very last second of the battle, even if the gauges are full before that. This is so that the other team can't attack afterwards and lower my team's score just before their time runs out, and I can't do anything to come back from it. Unless they attack first and I know there won't be enough time for them to fill their gauges again for another attack, in which case I will just counter. Now, there will be times where the other team inflicts some kind of debuff on your team that throws them all out of sync and makes it impossible to counter with a combo. There's not much you can really do about this besides make sure you have card skills that reflect or resist these effects. Otherwise, you're just going to have to try and work through it like I did for the majority of the time. If this happens, say all 3 opponents have activated their skill, but you only have 1 or 2 cards that can activate theirs, do not activate them. I know this sounds really strange, but doing this will only add to the combo for the other team, and it will make their effects of their skills even more powerful. It's sometimes better to just take the hit. My general rule of thumb here is to only counter when I have the same amount of cards available to activate as the opposing team. Unless they are completely stacked against you in strength, you'll most likely win the combo if you do this. One last small bit of advice for battles is to make sure you collect the hearts when they appear on screen by swiping them, as they grant more points, and if you get Fever Time, that's even better. Fever Time is activated at random near the end of a battle, but stars will frequently appear on your screen and it's important that you collect them. The rest of it really is just trial and error. If you find that you keep on failing to win, try adding glow sticks to your team, leveling up some more and increasing the Devil's Tree, or changing your team around to have more appropriate skills and attributes. Sometimes what you have just isn't good enough and you're going to have to train a whole new card up to speed just to use it in battle. Try to pull for new cards fairly regularly if you can, and always do 10 at a time for a guaranteed high rank card. You never know when you might need to train a new one for a sticky situation. Before we end things, we should talk about resources, what exactly they're used for, and how to get them, as well as some final tips. There are a whole slew of items that you'll need to increase your cards and your chances at winning battles. I will give you a quick rundown of the items you will need and where you can collect them. Daggers. These are needed to increase the max level caps on your cards and can be obtained from jobs, pop quizzes, and to-do missions. Items for the Devil Tree. All the items you need for the Devil Tree can be obtained from lessons and pop quizzes. You can easily farm them once you have successfully completed the battle by tapping ×1 or ×5 to quick clear. This will cost AP. Remember, doing a quick clear will not get card experience. You can also get these items from completing Akuba orders. AP. AP can be collected from daily logins, fridge mission, which you will need to check every day at noon and 6 PM, jobs, to-do missions, certain Devil Trees, and from surprise guest. You'll need AP to play the battles and to quick clear battles to farm items for the Devil Tree and Grim. Raven. You can get Raven from surprise guest, Devil Trees, login bonus, to-do missions, D-jobs, and if you manage to pull multiple of the same card a few times, you'll eventually just end up getting Raven instead. You'll need Raven to exchange in the Akazon store for rainbow glow sticks. Now let's talk about glow sticks. You need these to help boost the strength of your cards in battle. You get these from to-do missions, Devil Trees, as a login bonus, or purchased from Akazon store. These items are consumable, meaning that once you've used it, it's gone. So be sure to use them sparingly and attempt battles without them first. You may be surprised. You can get Grim from surprise guest, Devil Tree, login bonuses, to-do missions, jobs, Akuba, and lessons. Grim is needed to easily level up your card and unlock spaces in the Devil Tree. Demon vouchers. You get these from Devil Tree, to-do missions, as a special login bonus and flash sales, and you can buy them from Akazon with real money. You need these to pull new cards from Nightmare. Make sure that you always have enough to pull 10 at a time and guarantee yourself a card that is SSR rank or higher. Devil points. These are from Devil's Tree, login bonuses, to-do missions, or bought from Akazon with real money. These can be spent in Nightmare to pull new cards, pay for flash sales, and to purchase Grim and AP. I'd say they're better saved for the cards though, at least until you have enough to cover your bases during battles. And finally, here is your daily list of things to do and some extra tips that I have. Make sure to complete jobs every single day. This will earn you Grim and the daggers for unlocking the max level cap on your cards. Make sure to send the characters that have sparkles around them for each location, as they have an increased chance of getting items. Sending 2 characters to the same place also increases the chance. Don't forget to complete Akuba orders every once in a while. It's a way to get the items needed to unlock spaces in Devil's Tree. The attribute for the items are available on specific days, so it's important to at least take a look and see what's available that day and collect what you need to increase your cards. Always complete your to-do list to earn devil points daily. You only need to complete 7 of the tasks to claim all of the devil points for the day, and they're quite easy to clear. Whenever you encounter a surprise guest, it's best to look up a guide of how the character likes to be interacted with, especially if you don't have their favourite gifts on hand. This is to ensure that they give you a nice little present at the end. Their favourite items have sparkles around them, so they're easy to identify. Remember that receiving more than one of the same card when you pull isn't a bad thing. This increases the skill level of the cards, which increases the effectiveness of the skills in battles. And when you've maxed out the skill level of a card, any duplicates after that will be turned into Raven. And finally, you seriously get rewarded on your birthday. Not only do you receive useful items in the mail, but unlocking spaces in the Devil Tree and unlocking the max level cap also costs half as much Grim as it usually does. You are also guaranteed a UR Demon card on your birthday if you do a 10 pull, but only once and it costs the same amount. Surprise Guest also sees a change on your birthday, as any interaction you do will guarantee a positive reaction from the character. And the first encounter for that day will always reward you with 30 devil points. Make sure to log in on your birthday to reap the benefits to the fullest. Okay, I think that is everything covered. I'm not going to lie, beating this game is certainly a grind. It takes a lot of time and you're not going to see success immediately. But if I could do it, then you certainly can as well. Keep working to improve your cards and you'll get there. I really hope you found this guide informative. I know I talked at you quite a lot today, but hopefully I have provided you with something that you didn't know and given you some valuable insight to help you complete the game for yourself. Do let me know if you found this helpful and see any changes in your own game from following along. The majority of this video is just the way I did things to complete the game, but it's not the only way to do things. If anyone has any further tricks, maybe something I've missed or a correction, because it's been a while since I actually sat down and played, then please do leave them in the comments for the other players to see. We're a community, we should help one another. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope this was entertaining, if not informative. If you would like to support your Duchess, then please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing for more Otome, dating sim, and visual novel-based content. Farewell, darling human, take care of yourself, and I will hopefully see you again soon.